Hello and welcome to Wasted Youth. My name is Gar, and for as long as I can remember, I've been a collector. I've collected everything: comic books, action figures, statues, vinyl, records, cassettes, stickers, cards, games, video games, DVDs, Blu-rays, VHS tapes, you name it. I probably got some somewhere. I probably slowed down a little bit as I got older, but the urge is still there. So what have I got? Let's have a look. Hey guys, this week we're going to be talking about Spawn toys. Spawn toys were a big deal back in the late 90s all the way up to now. Started by a guy called Todd McFarlane, who started off as a comic book artist. Got famous doing Spider-Man and Venom and stuff like that. Eventually he was one of the people who set up Image Comics, and one of the launch titles for Image Comics was Spawn. Spawn was a worldwide phenomenon. The comic book was huge, just took over. Everybody was mad for Spawn. I was mad for Spawn. I bought every Spawn thing I could get my hands on. I spawned video games, spawned board games, spawned t-shirts. I nearly got a Spawn tattoo. I'm glad I didn't. That would have been not good. Anyway, 1994, he signed a deal with Mattel to start making the action figures for the Spawn comic book, and he didn't like what they were doing. Mattel was a big brand, but they couldn't do the articulation that he wanted. They couldn't get the detail that he wanted, so he just went off and he started his own company. Originally it was called Todd's Toys, but Mattel went after him, said that's a bit close. I think Barbie's younger brother was called Todd, and they were like, no, you can't call it Todd's Toys, so he called it McFarlane Toys. So in 94 he brought out kind of the core range of Spawn action figures. I think I've got two, but I can only find one. And to say that this was a big departure from the action figures we were used to buying when McFarlane came out, the detail was incredible. Now looking at the detail now, it's hard to see the difference, but back then you absolutely could. So he done, I think, maybe 3 core ranges of Spawn regular action figures. I'll show you one of them here. I have one here sitting on a shelf. I'm going to do a show about this guy. This is one of the original. This is medieval Spawn, and I can't find. He has a shield and a sword. I have the sword. I might have the shield as well. But this was a big deal, like a big deal when he came out. The actual Spawn one was amazing. They came out with play sets. They came out with vehicles. All the good stuff that you wanted as an absolute man-child fanboy. He needs to be cleaned. He's a little bit dusty. But eventually, they came up with this process of making action figures that were closer to being statues than action figures. And it blew everybody's mind. I'm going to do a couple of them here. Now, that's not to say they're all good. I have a kind of a cross section here of good and bad. One of the first ones we're going to look at is one called the Viper King. Now, this is the Viper King. Alright? Like Viper King, this came out in 1999. This is, I don't even know what series this is. I think it's series 14 from August 1999. There's at least 2 paint variants of this guy. But once you see, like, when they start arriving with these real chains, and like each one of these can bend, like, he doesn't really stand. He kind of falls. I'm sure there's some way of making him stand properly, but these look more like statues. And we were used to seeing this level of detail in statues that were costing like €100 or more. But now you could buy action figures that looked amazing on a shelf. And here's the problem with a lot. Once you start getting to like series 14 and stuff like that, like this guy isn't in the comics. Not that I know of. He wasn't when I was buying him. It was like they just went crazy and started banging out action figures for characters that they were just inventing on the spot. Didn't make a lot of sense at all, but they were cool looking, so you bought them. So that's the Viper King. As I said, there was 2 different variants. I think there might have been a black one with maybe a white highlight on him, but this, I didn't know what a Viper King was. I just thought this was one of the coolest looking things I ever seen. But they invented this. They came up with this kind of weird rubberized plastic thing that got really important as the action figures kind of went on. But we're going to put away Viper King, and we're going to pull out the next one. The next one is pointless. It's stupid. Like, I'll find a place to put this guy. You can lay on the floor for a second. Listen, what do you want from me? I'm pulling all these things out of attics and trying to clean them and show them off, and that's about it. The next one is I don't know why I bought this. This is just stupid. So this this is a Iguantis and Tuscadon. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, what is it? It's some sort of creature with a creature on him. Like, he moves, his head moves, you can take the axe off, whatever. He's got a chain. It's connected to. I'm assuming this is Iguantis because he's kind of looks a bit lizardy. He might be missing. He is missing something. There's a big banner, I think, like a big flag that hangs down here, and I'm sure I have that. I'm sure I have that somewhere. The tail. Can the tail do the moving like the Viper King? It can. Yeah. So his tail obviously is fully posable as well. It's got that steel core in it or whatever. I just don't get it. Like, honest to God, I don't understand. I don't know what he's meant to be. I don't know if he was in a comic. He might have been in one of the medieval comic series that came later. If someone knows if any of these people, any of these characters were in comic books, please let me know. He's detachable. Obviously, the chain is detachable. You can take it off. He's got some sort of like brick stuck here, and you can wedge him in. It's not the most posable of action figures. This is more in the line of statues, which is one of the things that people used to complain about with the McFarlane toys. As they got more and more elaborate, they just essentially became statues that you could kind of move. Paint job on him is okay. I don't know if there's variants on him. I'm sure there is. Once you get underneath him, he's pretty boring. There's not a lot going on. They just ignored that because who's going to look there? I also don't know why they put the peg holes on his feet unless they released a play set. But I mean, he's heavy enough to stay anywhere really. You get a little bit of a bend here on Tuscadon. I'm assuming he was sitting in a box for a while. That's Tuscadon. He's gonna have to find a home for him now as well. These guys are not. They don't live on my shelves. They live in boxes. Just find a home for them and leave them on the shelf. Okay, I mean notes. It's very important to have notes. I've got two more. Two more. Then we're out of here. Next one I'm gonna leave the best to last. And I'll probably drop everything now. Watch. I guarantee I'll drop everything. What am I missing? Set this guy up here. And this guy is kind of complicated. A lot going on with this dude. Okay, here we go. Here's the second last one, and this is Tormentor. Tormentor has a lot of detail. Like, there's a lot going on here. You can take his hood off and see one of his face. He's got a lot of faces. His main head, secondary head. He's got some sort of little growth. He's got another growth on his arm, which has another arm, which has a weapon, which I think I have somewhere. This guy here has a weapon. He has a little axe. He comes with a bunch of weapons. There's another one, I think, as well. And he's got a backpack, and they sit in him. He also comes with a basket that you put his heads in. It comes with a skull, I think, that fits. I have the skull. I just couldn't find it for this video. And the skull sits in his arm. Again, you're looking at a posable statue here, but I don't really. Again, I don't know whether he was in a comic book or what. There's a lot of detail on him. He's just cool looking. He's more of a kind of a fantasy type character called Tormentor. They give him backstories. I didn't read it. This is from Series 14, August 1999 as well. I think this guy, when I was buying these, I probably bought them for like €20 each. In a box, this guy is around 100 now. It's hard to get these to stand as well, because over time, whatever plastic they use, it doesn't melt, but it changes shape, and it's because it's pretty soft plastic. They tend to take on the shape of the box that they're left in. So this guy is probably about $40 loose now on eBay, maybe about $40. Yeah, it's whatever. Again, he's gonna live in a box. Like, he's absolutely gonna live in a box. Even the little dude in the middle, you can move him. Like, there's so much work in him. He's not. I don't know whether he's even good looking. Like, he's definitely not good looking. But is he? Oh, I didn't know that bit moved. When something's been sitting in a box for 20 years, you're always afraid to move one of the joints in case it just snaps and leaves your life. But yeah, you can do, very poseable. You can't move his right arm. His right arm is stuck at that joint, at the shoulder, but you can move him kind of from the bicep, and then you can move his hand as well. So yeah, Tormentor. Like, what do you want? Tormentor. The last one is probably, where do I put these guys without dropping them everywhere? Last one is one of my favourite action figures of all time, and I'm going to jump straight into him now. I'm going to show you this guy. So this is Mandarin Spawn. He's fallen. This is Mandarin Spawn. Mandarin Spawn has a bunch of accessories, but just in terms of like the actual sculpt and like the shape, it's incredible. Again, I think they might have put this guy into a comic book, I think, but this is once again very much a statue. So what have we got? We've got his shield. So his shield, I'll put that onto him now. He comes with two main swords that you can join together into one giant 12-inch sword. So this will click in here. So once you get this guy kind of set up, he's bananas looking. I just found Tormentor's skull there. Here we go. So what we're missing here is there's a tiny little cap that sits on the end of this sheath that holds the sword in, but that's not a big problem right now. So this slots in, I believe, here, and then there's another longer kind of katana that comes out of its sheath. You can see the bit we're missing off this, and I believe that this I think it might have been glued on here. The glue is gone, so I'll have to glue that back. Of course, you just snap in my hand. This guy glues on here. Let's just fix this a little bit so we can set him up. We don't need that right now. But this is Mandarin Spawn. There was a couple of different variants on this guy color wise. I believe there was a blue one. I believe this is the one called the Scarlet Edge or something like that he was called. I think it was the Scarlet Edge. He had a Scarlet Edge. This is Series 14 as well. Everything I've shown you tonight, I believe, is Series 14. So I must have went crazy in 1999 and just bought everything, because the rest of the models that came out in 1999 were so. They were okay. So this is Mandarin Spawn, if you'll stand, without his katanas attached, as you can see, just without them. They sit in underneath here, and this hand here actually holds onto the two handles of the katanas while they're attached. It's an incredible figure. I think he goes, money wise, again, I probably spent 20 on him, and it probably goes for $40 or $50. Probably goes for $40-$50. So anyway, that's it. I've a heap more Spawn figures. He's gonna fall, so I'm gonna lie him down. He's got a big cool horn thing here on his shoulder that comes separately packed, and you need to attach that yourself. But that's 4 Spawn or McFarlane toys, and I'm gonna do a bunch more of them because I have boxes full of them, boxes upon boxes upon boxes of Spawn figures, going back to this guy, Medieval Spawn, all the way up to stuff from 10 years ago maybe. Anyway, that's it. Thank you very much. Subscribe, rate, share, whatever everybody else tells you to do on YouTube videos, just do that for me. Thank you.